Welcome to Royal Rebounds TV with Calvin and Barry. Just two crazy fans of the Sacramento Kings, and they sharing their opinion. So be sure that you subscribe. It's for the fans, by the fans. Whether you chilling on the couch or wilding in the stand. For laid back conversations about the Kings, subscribe here. Staying down until we come up thinking this gonna be our year. We're here drinking beer, talking about the Kings. Be sure you subscribe so you can hear that bell ring. Yeah. Light the beam! Woo!
Yes, sir.
Terrence
Let's go, man.
The beam is lit.
The beam is lit, finally! What's up, guys? Welcome back to Royal Rebounds, the Sacramento Kings YouTube channel for fans, by fans. Make sure you smash up that like button and hit that subscribe button. Calvin and I are live after every single Kings game. Calvin, I'm happy to announce the Kings win tonight, 127-126 over the Denver Nuggets. Sabonis is available. He plays tonight. And don't worry, guys. The Island Boys will be on very, very soon. So do not worry about that at all. But Calvin, how are you, buddy? Happy Hump Day.
Happy Hump Day, Barry. I'm good, man. Yes, everybody, I've got the chain back on. I did have to dust it off a little bit. That's why we're late. I apologize. Barry was running around after that last second thriller. Kings win. Like the
Kings win. Man, dude, I had so much fun. Calvin, watching the first quarter of that game, I was like, I don't know about this game tonight. But, man, that fourth quarter, boy, did it energize me, Calvin. I'm excited, dude. I got a beer. It's not a Modelo. I'm drinking Guinness tonight. It's feeling great. Dude, look at these scores tonight. I see a lot of threes, a lot of ones, 31 points for De'Aaron Fox, 31 for Domantas Sabonis, 33 for my guy Malik Monk. Hell yeah, good game tonight. I'm stoked. Shout out to everybody here in the chat. I see PK here, Rodders, Derek, Jeremiah, Big Bouncer in the house, Brian, DJ, Tito, Fred, Bryce, Callum, Ninja Style, Jeff, Mickey, Bench Matthew, wow, Jesus, Angel, welcome in everybody, Gothan, welcome in, and everybody else that I didn't say, Matthew, of course I see you, and Alfie Man, Jesus, welcome in, Charles, hopefully you guys are having an awesome evening, David, I see you too, so Calvin and Silva's here, Silva said we were going to win, and we did win, but Calvin, I got to hear from you, man, first thoughts on the game.
First thoughts on the game are we living in a simulation? Because this was an exact mirror image of what the game was yesterday. Kings were up 20, ended up losing it late with some key turnovers and not enough clutch plays in the fourth quarter. Tonight, the Kings get absolutely obliterated in the first quarter. It looked like the Nuggets were going to run away with this game early. Kings found a way to keep themselves in it, and they made enough big plays late, and they didn't have as many turnover problems down the stretch. They were able to pull this one out. Some big offensive performances on both teams tonight.
Light the beam!
Uh-oh, we're lighting the beam twice on the channel.
Oh, dude, it's
Wendy.
been a while. We should light the beam a lot of times tonight.
Wendy is here. Shout out to Wendy. Wendy, are you going to be here in a couple weeks? We'd love to see you. Thank you for joining in.
Hi,
Parallax, good to see you also. And Alex, thank you for joining in. An awesome victory tonight for the Sacramento Kings. Calvin, dude, I'm shaking a little bit, bro. I'm so excited. It feels great. It feels great. And, hey, I want to remind everybody, we are live currently on Twitter Spaces. So if you want to have your voice heard, come join us on Twitter, Royal_Rebounds. You can join our space. It's pinned at the top of our page. And if you want to come on stage, you can request, and we'll let your voice be heard. We'd love to talk to all of you guys. So check us out on Twitter Spaces. Also, shout out to Asha, #1 fan. Thank you for joining in here. Man, it feels good. Charles says we got to update the Beam video. The new one is brighter. Yeah, Charles, we'll definitely work on that. We will definitely work on that. Jeremiah's here. What's up, guys? Yeah, please don't forget to smash up that like button. We got 40-something people watching and only 17 likes. So, guys, please smash up that like button. Calvin and I are here. We're fans. We just do it for fun, and we get paid in likes. All right, Calvin, let's look at the box score, man. Dude, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. This is a lot of fun, dude. This is a lot of fun. Yeah, Jesus, I was dancing in the living room. Don't worry about that. Just be happy you don't live below me. All right. So Domantas Sabonis, 38 minutes tonight. He plays. He's got the brace on the thumb. We were thinking maybe 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks. We didn't know how long this guy was going to be gone, Calvin. And he showed up to play tonight. So 38 minutes for him, 31 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. Another double-double for him, his 11th in a row. 12 of 18 from the field, and makes both of his three-point attempts. 8 points for Harrison Barnes in 24 minutes. 5 points for Keegan Murray in 21 minutes. 31 points, 13 assists for De'Aaron Fox in 37 minutes. 12 of 21 from the field, and 2 of 6 from three-point range. Take that, Ethan. 33 points for my guy, Malik Monk, off the bench. 12 of 21, 4 of 8 shooting. And Calvin, dude, I want to talk about it. I'll pump the brakes a little bit. I'm so excited. I want to talk about that last minute of action because it's so exciting. But before we get into that, anything here that really stood out to you in the box score?
I think it's just the night and day difference in the offensive production from yesterday to today for Sacramento. They shot so much better, 45% from three, over 50% from the field. Both teams really were shooting the ball well, and for most of the game until that key fourth quarter stretch there where the Kings really took over on offense and defense. Neither team was really able to stop each other. It was just trade buckets after trade buckets. First quarter was all Denver. Fourth quarter was all Sacramento. Luckily, Sacramento had just a little bit left in the tank, or a little bit more than Denver did.
Yeah, this game was almost like a polar opposite of last night's game, right, where Denver got up early. They were up by 19 at one point in this game. The Kings battle back. They basically win every single quarter except for that first quarter, and they come out to win. Calvin, we circled 13 threes, right, is what this Kings team needs to make to win a game. 14 threes for them tonight, 14 of 31, 45% from three-point range. And then also that assist number, 32 assists tonight. Of course, it helps when you're making shots, right? But we saw the ball movement tonight, and hey, they were looking great out there, Calvin. So a lot of positives from this game. They also won the turnover battle, tied in rebounds, and they made some free throws tonight, 76% from the free throw line. We'd like to see a little bit better than that, but it definitely is an improvement over some of the past few games where they have been struggling from the free throw line. Calvin, who's getting the chain tonight?
I'm giving it to Davion. There were great offensive performances on both sides here, but what really changed this game for me when I'm talking about the Sacramento Kings is KZ's minutes on Porter Jr., because he had a really good first quarter. He killed Sacramento last night, and it looked like he was just going to continue on into today and have himself another 30-point-plus game, but KZ did a really good job on him. And then Davion coming in to pick up Bones Highland, who also was going off there in the second and third quarters, moving De'Aaron Fox off of him, putting Davion on him. Davion had some really, really clutch defensive plays and forced a couple of key turnovers that the Kings were able to take advantage of on the fast break. That's what turned the tide of this game for me, and I'm giving the chain to Davion, absolutely.
The Kings won, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. The Sacramento Kings, oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. Fox is so fast. Sabonis is so strong, yeah. Coach Mike is so smart, yeah. They are the playoff bound, yeah.
Hey, maybe the Island Boys are onto something here, Calvin. The Kings could be heading to the playoffs. Let's take a look here at the standings. Let me update this. The Golden State Warriors did end up pulling out a victory, Calvin, over the Utah Jazz late in that game. But, hey, the Kings are in the 6th seed currently. They are out of the play-in, which if you told me that, Calvin, if you would have told me a couple months ago that the Kings were not in the play-in at this point, I would be like, oh, wow, they had a horrible season. They're not even in the play-in. I had no clue they would be this good. So, hey, we're in the 6th seed right now at 18-15. and the schedule is starting to soften up a little bit. So we'll definitely go over that a little bit later here in the stream. But, dude, my mouth is watering a little bit. Things are looking juicy coming up. You know, maybe we'll be the 5th seed. Maybe we'll be the 4th seed, Calvin. You better enjoy that hair while you can, Calvin, because a couple more months, and I'm shaving that MFer off.
I was going to say, I got the hair down so that you guys can all remember what it looks like when I end up shaving it later on this season. We'll see.
Man, I love seeing everybody here in the chat. Everybody's so pumped. They're having a great time. Matthew says, just imagine what people would be saying if we lost by 1. Yeah. I mean, either way, Matthew, I was happy with this game when I saw what they were doing in the fourth quarter. If they would have lost at the very end there, at least I saw a lot more energy than last night's game. They looked like they weren't tired, right? Last night, they just looked like they were bogging. They looked like they were tired. Honestly, they looked like they were a little depressed because Sabonis was not out there. Nobody was sure how long he'd be out. But he looked great tonight, Calvin, and he did not seem to be suffering at all from that. But, hey, I want to kind of go back a little bit on the defensive end of the floor. Let's talk about, you mentioned Davion. I see some people talking about KZ in the chat. You and I kind of talked about that a little bit in the game, right, where you said, I think KZ needs some more minutes. And we did see him hit a 3 in this game, which I thought was huge because I don't think he's been shooting that well from three-point range through the beginning part of the season. But, of course, they'd played extremely well on the defensive end of the floor. Just kind of give me a little bit more about what you saw out there defensively from the Kings as a whole, and then what Davion and KZ both brought to make things a lot tougher on the Nuggets. And real quick, I do have to mention Jamal Murray was out in this game. Bruce Brown was out. Aaron Gordon was out. And Mike Brown, coach of the Kings, still out in health and safety protocols.
Well, yeah, I after the first game of the season, I said KZ's got to play. I just feel like when you have a guy that is his size with his length and his athletic ability and his determination to play good defense, that's a really game-changing type thing for a franchise to have. You know, not all teams, the goal or the ideal situation is to have your best player or your star, your franchise player, be an amazing offensive and defensive player, right? But if you look at a lot of championship teams, they field many guys, whether they're in the starting lineup or coming off the bench, that are defensive specialists. And they're guys that can guard multiple positions. They can switch. They can take on, a guy who's hot. They can shut guys down. I talked to you about PJ Tucker tonight. He's that player for Philadelphia. He doesn't take that many shots for them. I don't know how many he averages attempts per game, but it's very low. He doesn't look to score, and they don't need him to score. But what they need him to do is rebound and play rugged, tough, physical defense, and body up guys who are in the zone shooting, like Michael Porter Jr. was last night and the beginning of today. So while KZ doesn't bring much to the table offensively, he's not a great outside shooter. I do think that the way the Kings run their offense with a lot of these baseline backdoor cuts, he can kind of take a page out of Harrison Barnes and Keegan Murray's book, so to speak, and use that to get himself a few more opportunities offensively, especially when you've got Sabonis, who is now back and sees the floor so well and can make those drop-off passes really easily. But to me, it's all about defense. I mean, that's the one thing that is missing between Sacramento being not just a good team, but a team that you really think could win in the playoffs. They need to elevate that overall level of defense. And KZ can do that for this team. It's just rare to have a guy with his size, the ability to guard so many different types of players, positions, sizes. It really changes the outlook for you, within the course of a game. And I'm not saying he needs to play like 30-plus minutes a game, but he needs to be a regular part of the rotation, I think. And tonight, you really saw how it could help. And Davion, we rave about his defense every night. That's just who he is at this point. And he also had the offense to back it up tonight, too. Not a huge game, but he hit a mid-range shot. We've been talking about that with him as a way that he could improve his attack and his mindset offensively. It was just, the fourth quarter was a thing of beauty to watch for Sacramento, and a lot of that was done because those two guys were out there creating havoc and forcing turnovers.
Yeah, he also had a 3 tonight, and KZ also had a 3 also tonight, so that's definitely good. Hey, I just want to give you guys a quick little update. Calvin and I are going to be moving into our new studio in the next few weeks, so we're definitely going to get the clarity situation fixed for Calvin, so you guys will have him in 4K. You guys will be able to see every single hair on his head and be in 4K when I shave it off. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Couple weeks, and we'll be moving into the new studio. It's going to be a lot of fun. Charles says, I tell you what, I don't want Barry with long hair. That shit looks sketchy. Interesting, Charles. So Calvin is not sketchy with long hair, but apparently I do look sketchy. Interesting, Charles. Interesting. Patrick says it sounded so much like Arco tonight. And yeah, Jeff the lefty, shout out to Jeff. Like Coach said, the Kings were 1% better tonight. Hey, 1 point better too, and that's all it takes.
That's all you need.
It really is all that it takes. All right, Calvin, let's shift gears a little bit. We talked about defense. I want to talk about Sabonis here because Charles says, man, leave Calvin's hair alone. Oh, man. So I don't get this, man. Calvin can have long hair, but Barry can't have long hair.
Thanks, Charles, man. I appreciate you always looking out for me.
I don't know, man. That doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem balanced, Calvin. I don't know. Maybe you got a better face for long hair. Yeah, that's what he says. His face fits long hair.
Maybe I just got better hair.
Okay, Charles.
I don't know.
Charles, show me your face, dude. I want to see your face, Charles. Anyways, Calvin, I want to kind of turn the conversation a little bit.
We want to see your face.
To talk about Domantas Sabonis, and you're kind of glitching out, so I know we can hear you, but facial-wise, you got your eyes closed. Calvin's he's glitching out right now, so that's always fun.
I'm back.
But hey, let's talk a little bit about Domantas Sabonis. Obviously, he has the avulsion fracture, whatever it's called, to the right thumb. It's a ligament fracture. Did not know that even existed. The dude missed one game, Calvin. He missed one game. He's here tonight, 31 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists in 38 minutes. We didn't see him wincing in pain. He didn't seem to be grabbing the thumb or anything like that. Give me your thoughts on Domantas Sabonis, and I'm not going to switch it to you because you're glitching, so let's just hear you audio-wise.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, he was his normal self. It was really surprising. He didn't show, like you said, any sign of favoring that thumb. I mean, really the only thing that you could see as evidence was when De'Aaron Fox tried to throw him that bounce pass in the fourth quarter, and he tried to catch it with his right hand, and he just wasn't able to kind of fully, corral the ball, and it slipped right out. That's really the only moment where you felt like, oh, maybe there is something wrong with the hand, or there's something that is not normal. I mean, he's going up with two hands dunking the ball. He's putting his hands, in the way of passes, trying to deflect shots. And like you said, never wincing in pain. And the numbers were exactly the same as when he was healthy before the injury. So shout out to the Kings training staff and the medical team. They definitely seemed to be able to get him ready to play, and you hope that it's going to be able to continue.
Yeah, he definitely looked like himself tonight, and that makes me so happy. It's a big sigh of relief for me, for a lot of different Kings fans, I'm sure for the coaching staff, and for a lot of players, right? I mentioned last night's game, a lot of players seemed kind of down. We didn't see Alex Len tonight. He looked exhausted last night in his limited action, but starting as the starting center. But hey, Calvin, Sabonis has got the brace on his thumb. Keegan Murray's got a brace on his thumb. Last year, it seemed like they were coming for our eyeballs. This year, they're coming for our thumbs. So what do we need to do here? Does De'Aaron Fox need to preemptively wear a brace on both thumbs? What are your thoughts there on the thumb injuries? Just piling up here for Sacramento.
Yeah, man, watch out. I don't know. Definitely wear the braces. Maybe these guys need to play more video games so they can strengthen their thumbs. I don't know.
We know De'Aaron Fox plays a bunch of video games, so maybe he'll be okay. PK says thumbs are overrated. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure the opposable thumb is the difference between us and a lot of other creatures, right? So definitely want to hold on to that thumb. But hey, I'm just joking around here. Yeah, Jesus says putting some Band-Aids
and wraps
on my hands. Yeah, I mean, it looks cool, man. Maybe it's like the AI thing, right? You start the arm sleeve, we're going to start the thumb sleeve. Everyone's going to be wearing thumb sleeves on the Kings. But, hey, I'm just happy to say it doesn't seem to be affecting Sabonis at this point. He seems to be his normal self, and that's absolutely huge because this Kings team is a much different team without Domantas Sabonis. And the dude is playing like an all-star. Make sure you vote for him and De'Aaron Fox to make the all-star game this year. But the dude is just playing so well. I think he's number one in the NBA in rebounding. Like I said, 11 straight double-doubles. Calvin, he's leading the league in double-doubles too, right?
Yes, he is.
Wow. I did not expect this Domantas Sabonis when the Kings traded for him about a year ago, or a little less than a year ago. The dude is playing exceptionally well. Calvin, is it safe to say we won the trade? Still too early.
I mean, I don't know. Everybody did see Tyrese's 43-piece, including a game winner, 10th-3 of the game the other day. But to me, it's not worth talking anymore about who won the trade. Both teams are in better positions now because of it. And like we said before, Tyrese doesn't play for Sacramento anymore. So we got Sabonis. Let's just worry about him.
Yeah, Jesus says Sabonis gonna get paid. That is for sure. Hopefully it's us. I do not mind paying Sabonis. The dude is worth it.
Matthew wants us to revisit it in 15 years to see who won the trade.
Sports Streamer wants to know, do you think the Warriors will make the playoffs or the play-in, Calvin?
I think there's a very likely chance that they end up in the play-in tournament. They're so bad on the road. I don't, at this point right now, especially with the fact that Steph is going to miss more games, they're probably going to lose a handful of those games. I think it's a really uphill battle for them to climb into the top 6 come season's end. But they are the Warriors. I mean, they could definitely get hot and go on a run. I would pick them as a play-in team right now, though.
Oh, I love Bouncer, man. F the chicken nuggets, he says. Yeah, we beat up those chicken nuggets tonight. That's great. I'm surprised we didn't hear Mark Jones making something about that. Yeah, PK's hangry. Me too. So, Calvin, we had basically 3 players on this Kings team that absolutely carried the Kings tonight, right? We had Sabonis with 31, Fox with 31 and 13, 33 for Monk off the bench. Dude, I'm not a mathematician, but that's 95 points out of 3 guys, dude. 95 points. That's a lot of production out of those 3 guys. Now, the other 3 starters, Harrison Barnes, 8 minutes. He only played 8 points. Only played 24 minutes tonight. Keegan Murray, 5 points in 21 minutes. And Kevin Huerter, 6 points in only 18 minutes of action. What are your thoughts on, this was a close game. These are important starters. I'm really surprised Kevin Huerter didn't even break 20 minutes tonight. Keegan Murray, like I said, only 21, 24 for Harrison Barnes. And Harrison Barnes was a disappointing minus 13 on this game. So they obviously played much, much better when he was not playing, when he was not on the floor. This is the second night of a back-to-back, so I could understand guys being a little bit tired. Maybe you rest them. What are your thoughts on the Kings leaning on guys like Sabonis, 38 minutes, 37 for Fox, and then the other 3 starters playing like 60 minutes combined between 3 of them?
Well, it makes sense to me. The Kings are going to lean on Fox and Sabonis always, especially when it's a tight game, and especially when they're both playing well. As far as the other guys go, it's pretty status quo, I think, for how the Kings have handled their rotation all season long. Keegan Murray has been the one guy out of the starters who his minutes seem to be, not as guaranteed as the rest of them. And I think that's because the Kings have so many guys, in that second to third tier where they're trying to figure out who is the most reliable. Keegan has also been in a slump earlier this season. He's played much better as of late, but he wasn't, lighting it up as he has been, over the past couple of weeks in this game. And then for Kevin Huerter, when he is not, playing his best and Malik Monk comes in and has one of his best games of the season, that's definitely going to take minutes away from Kevin Huerter, without a doubt. Harrison Barnes, I've said this a lot about him. don't like playing him at the power forward so much and having to have him guard post players. He does it really well, but it seems to take a lot out of him, and it affects his game offensively. He's just not able to have the same type of aggressiveness. So it makes total sense to me that with Monk having his best game, one of his best games of the year, definitely his best game in a long time, that you would see those other guys not to play as much. And I think KZ coming in and doing a really good job defensively on Michael Porter Jr. is going to obviously take minutes away from Keegan and maybe even from Harrison Barnes a little bit. So it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I just got to give another shout-out to Malik Monk. Great performance for him tonight. And hey, last night, the dude did not play well. He missed all 5 of his three-point attempts. He had 8 points on the night. And then Calvin, he posts this after the game last night. I got to be better. My bad, Sacktown. I commented on that. I shared it on our page. I said accountability is key, and he bounces back tonight with 33 points off the bench in only 30 minutes of action. 12 of 21, 4 of 8 from three-point range, and hits the game-winning free throw, Calvin. I know you wish he would have hit that first free throw and missed the second one. We'll talk about that here in a second. But, hey, what did you see was the difference in Malik Monk tonight, other than the fact that just shots were going down?
Well, to me, it's his form when he shoots. I noticed that Malik tends to lean back a little bit on his jump shot. And when he does that, he's short. He's been fading away a lot over the past few games, and he's been, as a result, not shooting well. Tonight, I thought he was much more compact, definitely wasn't fading back as much, and the shot looked much better. It was pretty pure coming out of his hands. So I think it also helps when he gets off to a good start attacking, right? He's a great finisher around the rim, and he was really aggressive tonight trying to get to the hoop. That'll open things up a little bit for him. He's very quick and a pretty decent ball handler, so if guys feel like he's just going to blow by them, that's when the step-back three becomes a real weapon for him. However, the caveat there is you've got to be able to have solid form when you do that setback. If he's fading away too much, it's generally not going in. Tonight, I didn't see much of that, and he shot much better.
Yeah, great point. I feel like him and I have the same issue, right? When we fade too much, the ball ends up short, because it's so much fun, dude, to just fade back while you're shooting a three, launch it out there, and then, yeah, it does end up short. But you're right. He didn't do a lot of that tonight. 33 points tonight. This is probably his best game of the season. Definitely much needed for him. He was in the middle of a shooting slump, and the Kings definitely need Malik Monk. Silva wants to know, do you think Monk can play point guard if we traded Davion? Not saying we need to or want to. I think Silva's just a little curious here. We did see Malik Monk getting a ton of assists earlier in the season. What are your thoughts on Malik Monk playing backup point guard for the Kings?
I mean, the answer to the question is he can play point guard. I don't think that would be a good move. I know you're not suggesting that the Kings do it, but I think Davion is really fitting that backup point guard role well. When you combine the defense with the fact that he's kind of learning how to be a true point guard, he never really has been that in his career. Even at Baylor, they had a lot of different guys that could handle the ball, and he was really more of a scoring guard than a true point guard. So he's, I think, come a long way in a short amount of time this season, really filling into that backup point guard role. I like Davion in that role, even though they still allow Monk to handle the ball a lot. I definitely wouldn't be wanting Malik Monk to be the full-time backup point guard anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he could probably do it offensively, but it's the defense that you'd really be lacking. Like, Davion Mitchell has just played such exceptional defense. Like, look, Calvin, you're giving Davion the chain tonight, right? I don't think you can replace that with anybody on the Kings can play as good perimeter defense as him for the entire game. So I don't think you can replace that. But however, you can replace the assist numbers. But I like having both of those guys on the team. So I'm definitely not in the boat of trading Davion Mitchell. He's probably on my do not trade list, unless I can get an all-star or somebody like that. But then again, I don't know if that's even possible, right? I don't know if that's possible. Mojo wants to know if they're giving out special cookies for the missed free throws. I do not think they're special cookies. I wish they were. I think just regular chocolate chip cookies. Nothing special there. Nothing special there. Calvin, let's talk about this last minute of action, because man, was it exciting. You saw me standing up, dancing. I had so much energy for this game. It was so exciting. You want to break down kind of the last minute of action for everyone? Because honestly, dude, like I'm almost like shell shocked here. I can't remember like a good portion of it, and then I remember like from the free throw on. So you want to break down that last minute?
Well, look, it is a mirror image of last night, or from last night to tonight. In the fourth quarter of last night's game, the Kings made untimely turnover after untimely turnover. They were dominated by Denver in fast break points and transition points as well, points off turnovers, all of that stuff. And Denver was hitting their threes, and they were able to just build too much of a cushion that the Kings weren't able to come back from. Tonight, the Kings took much better care of the ball. They still ended up with 12 turnovers, but 12 is a really good number to have. If they can stay in that 10 to 13 range, have an average 11 or 12 turnovers a game, they're going to be very difficult to stop with how good they are on offense. They kill themselves making some really bad turnovers late, and they were able to force those same types of turnovers tonight. They were really good on Jokic. He did have a bunch of buckets there late in the fourth quarter. Great players are going to do that, but they kept sending bodies at him. Trey Lyles had a really great deflection that started a fast break for Sacramento. I think Sabonis scored off of that. Davion with a really key, pick of Bones Highland that again led to a transition basket. That's what put the Kings over the top. It's when they can do it on both ends of the floor, and it was really fun to watch.
Afghan says we need more from Monk. Dude, 33 points from Malik Monk tonight, man. I don't know if we need any more from Malik Monk. The dude played really, really well. There would be some other games that you could say that, but definitely not tonight. Calvin, I see some people here commenting on that offensive foul by De'Aaron Fox. Dude, that was an obvious foul for me, guys. I'm sorry. I wish I could agree with you guys, but De'Aaron Fox tried to hip check that guy from the side, dude. You agree with me, Cal? Was that an obvious foul?
I do. I think that was a very easy call to make, and not a smart play by De'Aaron at all. I mean, he had space. For a guy, his shot comes out really quick. He was in the exact right spot. That's his wheelhouse, right at the elbow there. I would have just pulled up. I don't know what offensive players, I think, today in the NBA spend so much time trying to force contact because they think it's going to end up being a foul. You see Jokic do it nonstop, and he's not the only one. I mean, everybody is trying to, as they get to the basket, initiate that contact because it usually ends up being a foul on the defense. That one, I think, was a really easy call and just not I was really confused as to what De'Aaron was trying to do in that moment because it wasn't like he was about to shoot either when he made the contact. He was really just trying to throw his body in there, and it was a big play. It was definitely an offensive play.
Big play, and obviously I think a mistake on his behalf. Happy he didn't argue it too much, didn't pick up a technical foul like we saw in the last couple games. But yeah, I think that was a mistake. Hopefully he'll watch some film and learn from that because you're right, Calvin. Offensive players do spend a lot of time trying to initiate contact, which, hey, in the middle of the game, I'm totally okay with. I want you driving at the rim, creating contact, making the official, do something about it. But, situationally, when there's like a minute left in the game, it's tie game, you have the ball, you're in a 2-on-1 or 2-for-1 opportunity, dude, get to the basket. Make something really happen. You don't need to hip check a guy that's on your side. So I'm not really sure what he was doing there. Also, shout out to Andrew here in Twitter Spaces. Andrew, if you want to come up on stage and have your voice be heard, just request to come up. No problem there. All right, PK wants to know if benching Herter could potentially get his game back. Honestly, I was more for starting Malik over Herter at the beginning of the season, but then Herter was playing exceptionally well. He is in the middle of a little bit of a slump here. Or maybe he's just kind of coming back down to reality because he was shooting so exceptionally well at the start of the season. Maybe this is what Herter is. I would like to see a little bit more assists from him. I thought that he was a better rebounder in the first, 20 games of the season than he's been recently. What are your thoughts on Kevin Herter, Calvin?
I'm definitely not ready to send him to the bench yet, and there's no guarantee that would bring his game back or all of a sudden he would have some spike in production from doing that either. I mean, it could honestly do the opposite. It could hurt his game even more. You never really know in those situations, but I like him where he is in the starting lineup. I think Malik Monk having the kind of the green light to be the go-to scorer off the bench is a good thing. If you were to put him into the starting lineup with Fox and Sabonis, there would kind of always be this question about who should have the ball at what time, who should be looking for their shot at what moment. Herter has really good chemistry with Sabonis too. I think that those two play really well off of each other. He probably wouldn't be on the floor with Sabonis as many minutes if he comes off the bench. So I think where they're at is fine. What you said about coming back down to earth is totally a valid comment here. Nobody is going to finish the year shooting 52% from 3 on 7 attempts. Until somebody actually does it, but it's a really, really hard thing to do. The dude is still shooting around 40% from 3 anyway. He just had 20 points last night. So I'm okay with Herter where he's at.
Yeah, shout out to all my Kings fans that are just joining in now. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to Royal Rebounds, a Sacramento Kings YouTube channel for fans, by fans. If you are a Kings fan, smash up that like button, and please consider hitting that subscribe button. Calvin and I are live after every single Kings game, win or lose, playoffs or no playoffs. We're here. If you need a shoulder to cry on, if you need some therapy, if you want to celebrate and have fun, we're here for everybody. So thank you guys so much for joining in. Calvin, Jesus here says, my bucket list won't be complete until I cross over Calvin and hit a jumper in his grill.
It's a box you're never going to check off, man. Sorry.
Good answer. Good answer. Sports Streamer wants to know your prediction for the NBA Finals, Calvin.
Oh, man, that's a tough one. I'm definitely going. Oh, this is so hard because I picked Milwaukee
at the. I
picked them at the start of the year, but the Celtics are so damn good. And Chris Middleton, I don't know if he's really going to be 100% healthy at all this year. So I'll probably take the Celtics in the East. The West is a lot more difficult. Before the season started, the Clippers were my choice to win the West. Who knows? They could still go crazy in the postseason. That team, when they're fully healthy, I definitely would be scared of playing them in the first round of the playoffs. But, man, I don't know. Denver is looking like a good pick, but they're not a good enough defensive team, I think, to make it all the way to the NBA Finals.
Dude, the Nets,
man,
Nets are looking good too, man.
The Nets are looking really good
winning
too.
Streak. Man,
they are looking great.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to
have to get back to you. I'm not ready to pick a team in the West. I like Memphis a lot, but they're just a little too cocky to me, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, we could see that. Bench Matthew, shout out to Bench Matthew, says those charges from off night alone. Yeah, dude, I would not be surprised if Davion Mitchell led the league in charges taken in the next couple seasons. The dude is exceptional. I think he's going to continue to get better. This is a mini Marcus Smart, dude, and maybe he'll even be a better defender than Marcus Smart. We'll see if he can convert on the offensive end, become a better three-point shooter. But I like everything that I see out of Davion. Calvin, Brian wants some more cowbell here.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
More cowbell.
More cowbell. We need more cowbell.
I'm telling you, fellas, you're going to want that cowbell.
You're going to want that cowbell, dude. We need it. The fans in Golden 1 tonight definitely had their cowbells ready. Boy, did it sound quiet in the first half of that game. Calvin, in the first quarter, I'm like, dude, listen to how quiet it is
you could hear a pin drop in there.
You could hear like a pin drop. And then that fourth quarter, late in the third, and the fourth quarter, dude, it looked like so much fun. I'm so jealous. If any of you guys made it to the game tonight, it looked like so much fun. Fred, you were probably there. And we know, shout out to Mike Monticello. We know Mike was there rocking his Royal Rebounds gear. Ninja Style says, I'm not going to lie, I shut the game off 3 minutes into the third quarter and came back at the beginning of the fourth. Well, you missed a lot of fun, Ninja Style. You got to go back and rewatch that because it was great. Great Kings basketball. Great Kings basketball. Calvin, if there was one thing that you could just say was the difference between last night's game and tonight's game, like, can you name one thing that was the difference?
It was how they finished. Last night, they did not finish. Too many turnovers, and they allowed Denver to really get whatever shot they wanted. Tonight was the complete opposite of that. They were able to force turnovers. They got out and ran, and they rode that momentum all the way to the end and made some really, really key defensive plays. Tonight, they just finished.
I'll tell you the difference for me in one word. Sabonis. Sabonis was the difference tonight. And obviously Malik Monk shot much, much better. Shout out to Lydia for joining in here. Lydia, shout out to Ivan. Ivan said, so happy they won. And defensively, and definitely Sabonis is the king of kings for playing with a broken thumb. Yeah. I had a feeling the guy was going to play tonight. I mean, Calvin, when we were in town last year during the trade deadline, they traded for Sabonis. The next night he shows up. It was a back-to-back against the Minnesota Timberwolves. He played, dude. He was like literally on a plane, played the next game. They won. It was exciting. It was a lot of fun. This dude definitely loves to play basketball. He's got a great work ethic. And you know, I think that he will be with the Kings for a really long time. Calvin, you know, speaking of guys that were with the Kings for a while, you want to share something you learned about Mr. Divox tonight?
That he's in the Hall of Fame? I had no idea. Nor, I don't
What
know.
did I
People
say?
might hate me for saying this. I don't know if he deserves it either.
What did I say when you told me that?
You said he's not in the Hall of Fame as a GM, that's for sure, and you are correct.
I was like, for what? For what? Oh, shout out to Afghan here. Sorry, you corrected your spelling of Monk. Oh, yeah, no worries. Yeah, you're right. Harrison Barnes, Herter, and Murray is what we needed more of. Monk had a great night. Oh, man, I could almost guess what Lydia was going to say here in this comment. Kings need a major athletic presence in the paint, also known as a rim protector. Just playing by letting teams score on you in the paint is not going to get you in the playoffs. I mean, Lydia, it seems to be working out pretty well, but you're right. Playoff basketball is a little bit different than regular season basketball, right? So maybe you can get to the playoffs without that rim protector, but once you are in the playoffs, the game's going to slow down a lot. There's going to be a lot of half-court offense, half-court defense. What can the Kings do then? We're really not sure. Obviously, this year is the Kings are improving. We want to make the play-in or make the playoffs. I don't think anything beyond that is expected or even, a goal at this point. So I think the goal right now is just to simply make the playoffs or get as close as possible. This is a building year, gaining chemistry, bringing in these new players, figuring out if Fox and Sabonis work together. And so far, Calvin, I have to say, I think it works. What about you?
Oh, I think it definitely works. Definitely works.
All right. Charles says
it's not
also,
just about the two of them, though. It's about the pieces that they've surrounded the two of them with.
Yeah.
And how different that is from last season.
I agree. Charles says, Herter doesn't really bother me. His threes have fallen off the road, but he's still doing well, finding ways to score. Ivan also says, Herter plays good defense. I like Monk off the bench as the sixth man. Yeah, I agree with you guys. And Calvin, what did I say during this game, right? When I was talking about Herter, I'm like, the dude is always under the basket. He's always fighting for something, whether it's a missed shot, an offensive rebound. He's always seems to be in the action, trying to get the ball, trying to tip out the ball. So I really, really do like that about Kevin Herter. And also, the dude jumps in passing lanes. He gets tipped balls, all sorts of things. So Kevin Herter is a lot more than just a three-point shooter, which I think is key, because I hate to keep ragging on Buddy Hield because I feel like every time I talk about Buddy, I rag on him, and I don't mean to do that. But what I'm meaning to say here is there's guys that are in the NBA because they can shoot the three ball. But at the same time, what's the old saying? You live by the three, you die by the three. Sometimes your threes don't go down. So if you can find a way to affect the game or impact the game when your threes are not going down, you're a good player. You're a player that's going to remain on the court. And I think that's exactly what Kevin Herter does. When he's not hitting threes, he gets involved in other ways, whether it's defensively, whether it's rebounds, whether it's just making things tough on other players or making things easier for his teammates. Kevin Herter does that. So I think I'm going to probably stick with him as the starting two guard at this point. You agree, Cal?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
All right. I got another question here, and it just skipped past everybody. What's up, Bryce? Gilbert, good to see you. Says he didn't see the injury. Barry, that Sunset Sherbert is fire. Shout out. Thanks, Envy. Who's hurt on their groin? Oh, Terrence Davis.
We have a Cheryl. That's exciting. Hi, Cheryl.
Oh, snap. Hi, Cheryl. Good to see you. Good to see you. That's my mom, everybody. Please, tell her how nice and good I am. Okay, Calvin, let's move on here. I want to talk a little bit about Trey Lyles. 24 minutes tonight, only 5 points, but 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 of 3 from the field, 1 of 1 from three-point range. I really, really like what I've seen out of Trey Lyles. We know that he missed a few games due to the sickness. He seems to finally have gotten his win back. The dude is playing exceptionally well in the past couple games. I think that Trey Lyles is the perfect big to come off the bench for this team. Metu has not got many. He's not got many opportunities in the past couple games. We didn't see him play last night. We didn't see him play tonight. So what are your thoughts on Trey Lyles? What do you think he does differently than Metu? And which one are you favoring at this point?
I'm definitely favoring Trey Lyles. Absolutely. He's been really, really solid for them, pretty much all season. Aside from, we know he got sick, kind of fell out of the rotation a little bit, and, I think maybe struggled to get some conditioning back under him, but he's definitely back now. He is the perfect, wing forward, backup center. I say backup center because they don't really have a lot of other options at this point. But the fact that he can do it on both ends and he can stretch the floor with the outside shot, that's the thing that Metu doesn't have, right? He's just not a consistent outside shooter and really doesn't have much, one-on-one or ball handling ability. Trey Lyles has all of that. He's really solid and sound in a lot of areas of the game. He hustles. He's always in on the rebounds, crashing the boards like you talked about with Kevin Herter. He's a really important piece for this team. We talked about it, after he first kind of exploded a week ago, maybe. I said he's a game changer for this team because he can do it in the starting lineup and on the bench or coming off the bench with the reserves. There aren't many players on this team that you could fit into the team system and still be effective, both coming off the bench and in the starting lineup, and Trey Lyles is one of them.
Yeah, you know me. I'm a big fan of anybody that played for Coach Pop with the Spurs. I think that's a great organization to come up in, and that's exactly what Trey Lyles has done. Like California Ryder here says, shout out to California Ryder, says Lyles plays winning basketball, not an amazing player, but he doesn't need to be. He's just consistent. I think that's key, right? He can hit the three ball. We've seen him protect the rim a little bit. He can get rebounds, and then he sets good screens, and he just does his job. I think that's the most important thing about him is he just does his job. We don't see a lot of lapses defensively from him. We don't see him getting boxed out and a lot of stuff like that. The dude's not a superstar. He's not a star. He's not an all-star. He's not going to put up 20 and 10 consistently or anything like that, but the dude can hit the three, and he can play great defense, and I love what Trey Lyles brings to this Kings team. So I'm super ecstatic about him. And, a lot of people want to make big moves with this Kings team, right? They want to add another flashy player and bring him in here. But at the same time, it's like, dude, we're already having some success. And I think having players like Trey Lyles are absolutely integral to the success of this team. Guys that are selfless. They just go in there, they do their job, and they play winning basketball, like California Writer said. I don't think a team can have too many guys like that. We got to see Richaun Holmes play 10 minutes tonight, Calvin. 0 points and a rebound. Any thoughts on Richaun Holmes? Did you think he was going to play a little bit more? We saw him play last night. I know some people were saying, let's showcase him for a trade. But it just seems like Richaun Holmes is just not the guy for this team, which is strange because Mike Brown raved about him in the offseason, said he loves to have him. I thought that maybe he was going to be starting last night. We saw Alex Len start instead. However, Richaun did play some minutes, and then tonight puts up an 0 for score-wise in 10 minutes of action. What are your thoughts on Richaun?
My thoughts are still the same. I mean, he's a really solid player, but I've said it many times this season. I just don't think he fits the team, the way that this team is currently constructed. And I'm certainly not surprised to see him not get more opportunity today now that Sabonis is back. I mean, when Sabonis plays, that pretty much means goodbye to all the other backup centers on this team because they just don't fit the team the way that this team is trying to play the same way. I mean, very few people in the world do, right? Sabonis is an incredibly unique player. But Richaun, for every good thing that he's done in a Sacramento Kings uniform, he just doesn't do enough in certain areas, like we're talking about with rim protection, rebounding, being able to guard the biggest bigs in this league. He's not an elite player when it comes to any of those things. That would be the way that he gets himself onto the court more. Unfortunately, it's just not going to happen, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he got minutes tonight, right, which is all he can really ask for at this point, getting an opportunity to show. I don't think he shined in the 10 minutes that he played, but he played over Metu, he played over Len, he played over Keita. Those are three guys that have gotten minutes on this squad. So the coaching staff decided to go with Richaun Holmes tonight, and he didn't really produce. So maybe they think, they take a second look at him, in a second thought on putting him into the game next time because he just has not performed in the limited minutes that he's gotten. Alfie Man wants to start Trey Lyles and bring Keegan in afterwards. That's interesting, Calvin. Lydia agrees with him. Start Lyles, then bring Keegan off the bench. That's interesting, Calvin. Would you consider starting Trey Lyles next to Sabonis? And then would you be more likely to bring Keegan off the bench or HB?
That's a tough question. I'm certainly not opposed to starting Trey Lyles. I mean, I just said multiple times he's a guy that can do it in the starting lineup. He can do it with the bench unit. That's tough. I really do like Keegan a lot, and I think that he's made a lot of strides from that slump that he was in, earlier in the season. It might not be a bad thing to try, though, the more I think about it.
I think I'm on board for that too. But I don't know. Maybe I bring HB off the bench. We'll see. I mean, I think that it depends on the matchup, depends on who's hot, who's not. But, dude, I might be on board for starting Trey Lyles. I like him. He's consistent, maybe not scoring-wise, but energy-wise, defensively. The dude has a high basketball IQ, and he seems to put himself in a good position. So that's interesting. Maybe against a bigger team, I start Trey Lyles. That's interesting. That's interesting. Eric, shout out to Eric, says, why is that neither Holmes, Len, or Keita can step up?
Are you waiting for me to answer? Sorry, I wasn't sure if you were going to keep going.
Oh, I'll keep going. Eric, I would say because neither of them are better than Trey Lyles, better than Sabonis. And so they are getting inconsistent minutes, and it's hard to be consistent when you don't get minutes consistently. What about you, Cal?
Yeah, definitely, not knowing how many minutes you're going to play on any given night it's hard to stay ready and be productive in those instances. I also just think, again, with the style of play that this team runs, Alex Len and Rashawn Holmes and Keita do not fit that style at all. I mean, Keita is incredibly raw still. The guy's still learning a lot. I don't think he's ready to play big minutes in the NBA yet. Rashawn Holmes and Alex Len, they're not elite level shot blockers. Alex Len is a really big guy and skilled for somebody who's his size, but he's not the same type of passer that Sabonis is. These guys just don't fit the team. I mean, that's the easiest way for me to say it. It's not that they're terrible players. I've never really been a huge Alex Len fan in general, but they're just not the right fit on this team. So you're asking them to be somebody that they're not. That's why they can't step up.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that maybe these guys would be better in a slower-paced offense, something that does more half-court stuff. Alex Len and Keita, I feel like they just can't really keep up at this point. So we'll see as the season progresses. Keita's still young, so it's not like I'm just over Keita. I just think he needs more time to develop, and I think he will get better, but it's going to take time. I mean, big men take a little bit longer. And look at a guy like James Wiseman, who people were so high on, myself included. Look how long it's taken him, and he's still not really there yet. So I think we all need to pump the brakes on Keita. It's going to be a while. It's definitely going to be a while. Shout out to Brian here. Brian wants to know what's so great about Mo Bamba. Calvin, you want to answer that? Like why do you like Mo Bamba, and what do you think he could bring to this Kings team? Is he a difference maker?
He can be a difference maker. I mean, he would be, I think, the best shot blocker on the team if they were to bring him to Sacramento, first and foremost. And he's also shown over the past couple of years that he can really hit the three as well. So that's why I like him on this team, because you can play him with Sabonis as another big man out there because of the fact that he can stretch the floor. He's not going to take up space in the post and clog the lane for De'Aaron Fox or even get in Sabonis's way trying to make these bounce passes for backdoor cuts. He'll still be available on the three-point wing, for an open shot. And defensively, he gives you a ton of length, size, rebounding, and shot blocking. So those are things that the Kings really need.
Yeah, I just like the shot blocking, the fact that he can hit threes. And he's just a big body that can grab rebounds. I think those are all important things. The dude can move. He's young. But, hey, you never know how guys are really going to fit on the team. So that's why you got to trust your GM and Monty McNair to make the right decision. Somebody's asking, I think it's Lydia's asking about Mama Holmes. I don't know. I haven't seen Mama Holmes in a while. But honestly, I wouldn't be disappointed if I were her. Your son's getting paid $12 million to sit courtside to watch a bunch of basketball games. I would definitely not. Dude, sign me up, Calvin. I'll take that job any day of the week. You need to put me in there for 10 minutes for 0 points and a rebound. I think I can do that, Calvin. No problem, dude. Sign me up, dude. Sign me up. California Writer says Sabonis is kind of like the Joker, passing first big man who is ultra efficient. Holmes is efficient, but he needs to be set up and isn't a passer. Yeah, I agree with you. That's why they call Sabonis Baby Joker, right? Because he is the closest thing to Jokic in the NBA. And you're right, Holmes can't get his own shot. He's not a guy that's going to handle the ball or pass it much. He needs to be set up. He's great at the pick and roll, man. Pick and roll is really where he thrives in that little push shot. But he's undersized for a big man. And, like I said, I don't know if he really, really fits with this offense. Okay, moving on here. Shout out to my bouncer, dude. Hopefully you guys all appreciate the bouncer. He's got a wrench. He's putting in the long hours here in the chat, making sure everybody's safe. He's banning all the sex bots. We really appreciate you, bouncer. You're awesome. Thank you so much for everything you do for us. Shout out to Fred Gonzalez. Davion was big dog in the big moments. You got that right. You got that right. Charles wants to know if starting Lyles will hurt the bench. Does it allow Murray to play against lesser talent? That might be nice for him to ease in. Well, what are your thoughts on that, Calvin? I mean, this is going back to the starting Trey Lyles and benching either Holmes or Keegan Murray.
Barnes or Murray, right?
Sorry, Barnes or Murray.
Yeah. I mean, Charles has a good point there. That's something that I would be worried about. I mean, the Kings bench has been kind of schizophrenic. They've either been really solid all around or they've really struggled. And Trey Lyles has been very consistent all season long for them. So, you know, Malik Monk is kind of feast or famine lately. Davion is very solid, right? But he doesn't give you a ton of offense. I do think there's a good point to be made about Keegan playing against, you know, the second team, for the other team. Maybe he gets a little more confidence putting the ball on the floor that way or creating his own shot as well as the, you know, solid outside shooter. But taking Trey Lyles out of that second unit, there would be some of that to worry about.
Hold on one second. I'm going to go see if I can see the beam. I'll be right back.
I'm going to spoil his return and tell you that he cannot see the beam, but he will try. He will try very hard. That's something that Barry wants to do for sure. We want the team in the playoffs too, Bouncer. That's what everybody wants, without a doubt. And when they make the playoffs, we will be there in Sacramento to watch them, and hopefully Barry will get to see the beam then.
I think we need to get a stronger beam, guys. I cannot see the beam from my residence, unfortunately.
Breaking news.
But hey, tag me on Twitter. Send me a picture of the beam, dude. I want to see the beam. I need to see this new, brighter beam. Sounds great, man. It sounds great. Bouncer says, I love the light the beam chant at L.A. versus the Clippers. Interesting. Yeah. Feels great, dude. Feels great to finally be rooting for a good basketball team, Calvin. And, you know, I've been so busy with other stuff. I haven't had much time to play NBA 2K. I know we simmed a game earlier in the season. Maybe we'll sim another one here and kind of do some commentary during it. But, hey, Calvin, I can finally play with my basketball team in a video game. That feels great. That feels great, dude. It's been a long time. A long time. All right, Lydia says, Coach Brown has seen enough of Murray to determine if he starts or comes off the bench. Do you agree or disagree, Cal?
Yes, I do agree with that. I also think that you can make a change like that mid-season too, but I would say at this point every team should feel pretty confident about who starts for them and who comes off the bench.
You know, the funny thing, Calvin, is I swear last night people were like, why is Keegan Murray not getting more shots? The dude is shooting so well. He needs more shot attempts. And then tonight we're talking about benching Keegan Murray. That just goes to show the emotional roller coaster we go through as fans, right, watching this basketball team. And Calvin, I'm not going to lie, dude. When we were coming back in the fourth quarter, I'm like, here we go again. They're just giving me hope. They're making me feel like they got a chance to win this game. They're going to rip my heart out. But, hey, they pulled it through, Calvin. They got us a victory tonight, and it feels good, man. It feels good because, dude, I know I can't see the beam in real life, but I see it online, and it's been a minute since we've seen the beam. So it definitely feels good to get this victory. It's been a week, bro, since the beam was lit. Maybe we'll light it every Wednesday. Hopefully we can light it more often than that. But, hey, I think you can pencil in every single Wednesday the beam is lit because we lit it tonight. We lit it last Wednesday against the Lakers. We lit it the Wednesday before that against Toronto. And then the Wednesday before that, we did not light it. So almost every Wednesday. Wednesday is pretty much like beam day, dude. We classify Wednesday as beam night.
Yeah, forget hump day. It's beam day.
Shout out to Mike here. Mike went to the game tonight. He was rocking his Royal Rebounds gear. If you guys enjoy us, if you enjoy the channel, if you want to support us, if you want to support the Kings and just rock some cool gear, check out RoyalRebounds.com. We got a couple really, really cool items you can pick up on there and sport it. Show your love for Calvin and I and for the Sacramento Kings. So make sure you guys check out RoyalRebounds.com. Mike wants to know if we won our fantasy football leagues. No, Mike, my team's trash. Both teams are trash. What about you, Cal?
Same. Dumpster
Trash.
fire.
Trash, dude, trash. I like fantasy football, but honestly, it's so stressful, dude. It is stressful. And, you know, when I played fantasy basketball last year, someone convinced me, like, you got to play fantasy basketball. It's so easy, blah, blah, all this. Dude, I gave up like 2 weeks in because I got to change my lineup every single day. There's injuries, plus all my other stuff that I got going on, dude. Like, it's a lot. So fantasy football is where I'm drawing the line. And honestly, Calvin, I didn't even set my lineup for the rest of the playoffs because I lost the first week and I was in the consolation bracket. I don't want no participation trophies. Get that out of here. I don't even want to talk about football right now.
No way.
Mike, I love my life. Shout out to I love my life. Shout out to YouTube for whenever I'm going to read a comment and they just move them all so I can't see where I was at. Oh, I love my life. Shout out to you. What were you saying here? I don't know. Oh, Kings guard Davion Mitchell tonight won the defensive player of the game. Chain, Calvin, shout out to you, bro. You're on it, man. Every single game, you're calling it like you see it, and you're right.
I think I've only
right,
missed
dude.
one.
If only I had a chain to give
Harrison
you.
won it twice in a row, and I didn't give it to him 2 times in a row, but I think I've been right every other time.
Fred says, when playoffs come around, the city needs to go full purple light bulbs on porches and in storefronts. I have mine out front. Wow, Fred's
Yes.
trying to turn, Sacramento into the purple light district. Sounds like a lot of fun. I'm definitely on board. Maybe you guys will be able to see my porch light from where you're at. But, dude, I'm on board. That sounds great. Purple light bulbs everywhere. Sounds like a great business opportunity, Calvin. Sounds like a great, great business opportunity.
You know what drink they should start handing out at Golden One Center?
Purple Nurple?
Purple drink. Sugar water purple.
Purple drink, purple drink. Yeah, we are emotional fans, but we expect better than 16 years of lull. Yeah, Lydia, you are 100% correct. Shout out to Kristen for joining in. Hi, Kristen. Good to see you. Yeah, it was a stressful game, but definitely a lot of fun. Definitely a lot of fun to watch. That's for sure. All right, Calvin, let's finish up here. We talked about the game tonight. Anything else you want to mention before we move on here?
Just thank God they pulled this one out. I mean, this show would have been really tough to do if they didn't win this game. God, it was already rough last night, and the first quarter looked like this was going to be another one of those Wizards or Hornets games, but man, the Kings came to play. And it's just so funny, too, because some of our keys to the game for tonight's game were they have to get off to a good start, right? You have to come ready to play just like they did in last night's game, but you have to find a way to do it for a full 48 minutes. They did not do that at all tonight. They did not come out ready to go, but they were ready to finish the game, and that's all that mattered.
Hey, we got some breaking news here on the stream. Breaking news. Make sure you guys sit down for this. This is some big breaking news here. The bouncer has bounced 29 sex spots so far this year. He's on a record-breaking pace, and he is leading all bouncers in sex bots bounced. That's a hard sentence to read, Calvin. I got to give myself a pat on the back for not fucking that one up. Because
Forget the ticker at the bottom, Barry, with the score. We need a sex bot blocked tracker at the bottom.
How many sex bots could bouncer bounce if bouncer bounced sex bots? Interesting. PK says he's getting a beam in Atlanta. That's awesome, dude. Make sure you opt for the good one, dude. I want to be able to see that thing from here. Yeah, bouncer is the real MVP. That is for sure. But, hey, I think that's it for the game tonight. Let's jump here into news around the league, and then we can talk about the upcoming schedule. So, first off, Calvin, Devin Booker out 4 weeks with injury. What does this mean for the Phoenix Suns? What does this mean for the Sacramento Kings? I'll let you talk here while I look into the schedule because it doesn't look like we're playing them until February. Any thoughts?
Well, it means a lot. I mean, he's averaging like 28 points a game or something, having a really good season. And the Suns have been very up and down. They started off pretty hot. They had the best home record in the league for a while, but Devin Booker has missed a bunch of games as of late. I think the first one was a hamstring, and now it's a groin, which he's had these types of nagging hamstring injuries in the past. So it's definitely concerning for a team that, I think any team that's in the Western Conference playoff mix right now, to lose one of your top two players for a good portion of time could spell doom for you. I mean, you might come out of that, somewhere in the play-in range, 7 to 8, 9 or 10. So it's a big deal for sure for this team with Chris Paul already being older. They have the chemistry issues that keep, popping up again with DeAndre Ayton. Devin Booker's been pretty much rock solid for them all year, so it's definitely a big deal.
Yeah, we'll see if he returns. And then you're right, like those hamstring injuries seem to linger, so we'll definitely see if that affects him. But hey, the Kings are just below the Phoenix Suns in the standings right now, so definitely good for your hair. The Kings could leapfrog the Phoenix Suns and move there into the 5th spot. Calvin, quick question for you. How lucrative do you think these sex bots are? Should Royal Rebounds consider diversifying into the sex bot industry? Because, hey, I mean, I don't want anybody making money off of our chat if it's not us, Calvin. We could send our own sex bots in there, and, maybe we could send them to other streams also.
I have no comment on that one.
No comment there. Okay, moving on.
I'm not ready to
on
send
here.
any sex bots in anywhere.
Sex bot. We're going to get banned. We're already getting kicked off of YouTube thanks to you guys. Okay, next up, I kind of want to talk about, Lydia. The
Kings won, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. The Sacramento Kings, oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. Fox is so fast. Sabonis is so strong, yeah. Coach Mike is so smart, yeah. They are the playoff bound, yeah.
Those guys definitely know something about sex bots, that's for sure. Anyways, Calvin,
I just
back
want
to
to point out
whatever
we had
we were
over
talking
80,
about.
almost 90 people watching until we started talking about sex bots, and now we're down to about 60. So
That was probably all the sex bots, dude. They probably all left.
yeah,
Anyways,
you're probably right.
let's talk about target score. So it's no secret. Shout out to Joe here. It's no secret here, but the NBA is constantly changing the game, right? It's happened for a long time, right? They added the three-point line. They've changed rules this year. That's the take foul in the fast break. And there's a lot of things that they've kind of tested in the G League before they've brought to the NBA. Now we're hearing about something called a fourth quarter target score that they will be testing in the G League and maybe moving to the NBA. No idea. We're just speculating here at this point. But basically what the target score means is that the fourth quarter will have no time limit, and it will end when one team hits that target score, and it's only for that quarter. So, like, if they set the target score at 25 points, whatever team scores 25 points in the fourth quarter ends the game, and then they add the score from the fourth quarter to the rest of the game, and then they declare the winner. Now, the reason they're doing this is because technically there will always be a game-winning shot. There will no longer be games where there's a team up by 20 and they're dribbling out the ball for the last minute or 2 minutes and you know, forcing people to basically leave, stop watching the game, and then they lose out on ad revenue. That's basically where this kind of comes full circle to me is how can they keep people watching longer so that they can put those stupid commercials during the middle of free throws that I hate and keep people watching, right? How can they do that? So this is kind of weird, Calvin. I've seen them do this in the Big Three. This is kind of a weird topic. I have a lot of questions. First off, if you're up by 26 at the start of the fourth quarter, do you just like end the game and not even play it out? I have no idea. What are your thoughts on this potential target score fourth quarter?
Well, we've seen this also in the basketball tournament. If anybody watches the basketball tournament, they've been doing this for years already, where the fourth quarter there is always a target score depending on, you know, how wide of a margin there is. They set it. and that team wins. I think it's good for a tournament-style play, tournament-style, single elimination, not a 7-game series NBA playoff round-robin type of thing. I don't like this for the NBA. I mean, I think if you reach the professional ranks, you should play out the full 48 minutes. I get why you would be interested in doing this. It makes blowouts a little bit more entertaining. It keeps people's attention spans longer, like you mentioned. It does cut out on ad revenue, so it seems counterproductive for a business like the NBA to do it. I'm personally not a fan of it for the NBA level, but I do like it in situations like the basketball tournament where it's a single elimination type thing. It keeps the games moving quickly, and you don't have these fourth quarters of blowout games that are really boring to watch.
Calvin, do you want to know how I really feel about this?
Oh yeah.
Or should I sugarcoat it?
Be real, son.
Be real. I think it's stupid. I think this is ridiculous, dude. I have no idea why they would even consider this. There's obviously other things in the game that could take a lot more attention. So I think this is a stupid experiment. I think it fails. I don't even know if the G League completes a full season with this. Because like I said, what happens if you're up 26? What happens if you're up 27? This is like a mercy rule. You just end the game. I don't know. I think it's absolutely dumb. And I think it's going to confuse a lot of players like J.R. Smith. Shout out to J.R., one of my favorites. But the dude doesn't even know when to call a timeout in important points in the game. How is he going to know to add how much their score is that they have plus their other score and figure out how many to get to 25? I just think it is a stupid idea. Straight up stupid. Shout out to everybody that's agreeing with me here in the chat. And also, shout out to Fred. Fred Gonzalez says, one more time, can we celebrate Domas' winning spirit? That man will bring a title to Sacramento. Yeah, we'll give him one of those. We'll give him one of those horns. This is for you, Sabonis. This is for you, and we'll give him a cowbell too, Calvin. You didn't know I had a cowbell, did you? I got a cowbell too, buddy. It's not a cowbell. It's a cowbell. Lane says it sounds like a dumb idea. I agree. Dumb idea. Oh, man, they're trying to get us canceled here, Calvin. Bryce wants to know what you think about Mark and Katie as a duo.
Oh, wow, you're going to centerpiece me for this one, too.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I think Mark Jones is pretty good. I definitely think he's better than Kyle Draper. No offense to Kyle Draper, but Mark Jones definitely has, I think, a lot more experience under his belt, and I think is just better at calling the game. I do think that those two can get on some really strange tangents every once in a while. When Mark Jones calls a game, it feels more like story time than a basketball game going on in certain moments. Katie, she has her ups and downs, just like every color commentator does. But I think, if you guys really think that these two are that bad, you should listen to some of the other teams, broadcast teams more often.
Warriors.
Because the other franchises have absolutely god-awful announcers doing their games on a nightly basis. The Clippers come to mind. The Warriors come to mind. The Hornets broadcasters are highly entertaining, but they make you feel like you're watching a WWE wrestling match more than you're watching a basketball game. It can be very distracting at times. The Kings actually have it pretty good. I think we're just all spoiled because Grant Napier and Jerry Reynolds were the model broadcast team for so many years. It's hard to get back to that when you don't have those guys anymore.
Yeah, there was a petition going around for a while. People were signing it. They wanted Calvin and Barry to do announcing for the Kings, to be the commentators during the game.
I would love it.
Calvin and I had to respectfully decline. We said we're very honored. We'd like to do it, but unfortunately, we don't want to kick these guys out, and we don't want to move to Sacramento. No offense to anybody out there. If we could do it remotely, maybe. But at the same time, Calvin, you know me, dude. When I'm watching the game, I get distracted. I'm running around. I'm dancing. I was playing paintball at halftime. You saw me tonight, so I don't know if that really works with TV. And I also say a lot of bad words too, so I don't really know how that works. Shout out to Lane. Lane, were you at the game tonight? You got involved? How many waves did you start? That's what I want to know. That's all I really care about. How many waves did you start? Because I'm a big fan of the wave. I count how many waves equals how much fun you had at the game tonight. So I'm curious. Ivan thinks the target score is the worst idea ever. That's pretty bold, ever. Ivan. I don't know about worst ever, but it is definitely very, very stupid. Shout out to Nicole here for agreeing with me.
Shout out to Barry Bones.
Barry Bones.
Thanks, Brian. Barry's gonna love that one.
Dude, maybe that'll be my commentator name, Barry Bones, on the mic, commentating. Yeah, Katie has her ups and downs. I do have to say, I like Katie Christensen better than I like Katie Hunter. I'll just put that out there. Okay, Calvin. I think we're ready to talk about the upcoming schedule, right? Are you ready? Or you want to talk about some more stupid G League rules?
Can we talk about sex bots more? No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Let's
prime
move
you.
on.
Go for it. It's all you, bro.
I have nothing to say about sex bots.
Okay, let's look here at the upcoming schedule. As you can see, we did beat the Denver Nuggets tonight, and boy, does it feel good. Calvin, Kings have tomorrow off, just like me. Feels good, dude. I'm going to go on a sunset cruise. It's going to be nice, dude. It's going to be real nice. Probably 80 degrees tomorrow, sunny. Maybe I'll see some whales, have a couple beers. It's a tough life out here. It is.
Oh, you'll see some whales, that's for sure.
Kings are probably going to have a day off tomorrow because they won tonight. They're probably not going to be running laps. We'll see what happens with Coach Brown. He's still in the health and safety protocols. Not sure how long that'll take. But, hey, the Kings have a game on Friday. It's the last game of 2022. And it's at home against the Utah Jazz, a team that we thought was going to be garbage this year, Calvin. We thought this Utah Jazz team was going to be worse than the Lakers. And they started out the year hot. Then they went on a little bit of a losing streak. But hey, Calvin, they're still 19-18 on the year. They almost beat Golden State tonight in Golden State. And don't forget, the Warriors have the best home record in the NBA. They're shitty on the road, but they play well at home for some reason. I don't know why. But
Most
Utah
teams play better at home.
Is coming to Sacramento. It's what, a 45-minute drive, hour drive from Golden State to Sacramento?
45 minutes? So there's no way you're making it in 45 minutes.
Oh, if you drive like I drive, you do. But anyways, they are, Lane's going to be in Kauai in February. Lane, I'll be in Kauai in February also. Anyways, Utah's not on a back-to-back. They are going to be plenty rested. They're adjusted to California because they're already there. Give me your thoughts on this game. Kings, Jazz on Friday.
It's going to be a fun one. First meeting of the year between these two teams. This is currently the number 3 scoring team and the number 4 scoring team in the NBA. So expect a lot of fireworks, a lot of points scored just like tonight. And I think if you're the Kings, we're talking a lot about potential trade targets, right? Utah is in a weird position. They're obviously overachieving, or maybe they're underachieving if they were thinking about tanking for the number 1 pick. But they're in this weird kind of holding pattern where they've got a lot of really good players who are playing. They were guys that people didn't want anymore, and now all of a sudden they're having a great season. And they could be, potential trade targets for the Kings. I'm talking about guys like Lauri Markkanen, maybe even a Jordan Clarkson, something like that. So I think it's going to be a very entertaining game to watch. The Kings should have an advantage being at home, and the fact that these two teams haven't played each other before. But the Jazz are a streaky team that can get really, really hot really fast. So it's going to be a tough battle for sure.
It is going to be a tough battle. I still can't decide whether this Utah Jazz team is trying to win games or they're trying to showcase players to get more draft picks. So maybe Monty's watching this game close to see if maybe he can pry away a Jordan Clarkson or a Lauri Markkanen to help complete this roster. I'm not really quite sure, but it should be an entertaining game. There's nobody listed on the injury report. We didn't see any setbacks from Sabonis. Whether he feels okay tomorrow is a whole nother story. But Calvin, I want to hear your keys to the game here.
Well, it is going to be a very up and down game, and we talk a lot with the Kings about live by the three, die by the three, right? Utah allows the fewest made three-point field goals per game and the fewest attempts per game. So how the Kings are able to open up the floor so they can get some open looks and hopefully shoot it at a high clip is going to be a key point to this game. The Jazz are a pretty bad rebounding team as well. They're one of the bottom teams in the league in opponent giving up offensive rebounds. So crashing the glass all night long, something that the Kings don't normally have an opportunity to take advantage of because of a small lineup. This is a game or a team where they might be able to really take advantage in that area and get some second chance points. And then attack. The Jazz are one of the bottom teams in the league in opponents' free throw attempts per game. If you're not going to be able to get a ton of open looks from the three-point line, why not get it at the free throw line? I want De'Aaron Fox to have 12 or more free throw attempts in this game. If they do that, I think the Kings will be in a good position.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Guys you got to worry about, Lauri Markkanen, the dude is having a career year. He's playing exceptionally well, and he's shooting the ball really well from the field, really, really well from three-point range. So he's definitely going to be somebody that I'm circling and I'm focusing on if I'm the Sacramento Kings. We know that Jordan Clarkson can get hot. Colin Sexton can play well. This team has a lot of firepower. You're right. It's going to be a fast-paced game. It's going to be up and down. It's going to be a scoring fest. So we'll see which team can end up scoring more in this game. This is the Kings' first meeting against the Utah Jazz this year, and then they do play them again next week on Tuesday. So it will be a good look at it. It's going to be an exciting game, and it's another chance, Calvin, for us to get another W and put it here on the record. The schedule does lighten up here. I mentioned Utah on Friday. They do play Memphis on Sunday, which is a tough game, but it is on New Year's Day. So hopefully the Memphis Grizzlies are out late on Saturday partying, and the Kings are not. Then they do face Utah on Tuesday, and then Atlanta at home, the Lakers at home, Orlando, 2 games against Houston, San Antonio, the Lakers again, Oklahoma City, a bunch of games here and opportunities to get wins. So this is going to be a really, really fun couple weeks here. But Calvin, I think that's about it for the stream tonight. Shout out to everybody that's been watching. We appreciate you all so much. Please don't forget to smash up that like button, hit that subscribe button. Lane, I'll definitely meet up with you for a nooner. You know how much I love nooners. Calvin, any last thoughts before we end the stream here?
Thanks for watching. Go Kings. Chain is back.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you so much. Sleep tight. Don't let the sex bots bite.
Light the beam!